Hi guys, it's Nikki from Innocent Teddies here. So I thought today we could go through the UKCA testing process. Today's video is going to be on the UKCA testing process for selling your crochet plushies in the UK. So on my market video, I got a load of comments on the CE and the UKCA testing process that you need to go through when you sell your crochet plushies, specifically in the UK. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to answer some of your guys' questions and your worries and show you that actually the UKCA testing process isn't as daunting as you probably think it is. So obviously, just to say, all of this information in this video is my personal experience, not legal advice. You will still need to do your proper research when you are to do this testing, and you'll need to get the specific kit, which I'll go through in this video. But I'm just saying, don't specifically quote me because there may be things that I've missed, things like that. So you will need to do your research yourself. But this is just me giving my personal view, breaking it down a bit more into manageable sizes. So hopefully just making you feel less overwhelmed. So when I started my crochet hobby a couple months back, I actually had no idea about the CE and UKCA law that was in place. I know this sounds silly, but I was really oblivious to it. Now I know about it, I actually see it everywhere. It's like taunting me. So when I started looking into selling my plushies in the UK, this is when I come across the testing process online. So this is when I started to do a bit more digging and having to find out a bit more about this and what it meant for my crochet business. I would personally say, I know there will probably be some rebuttals on this, but I would personally say I don't think it is quite advertised or well known, especially for the handmade small businesses, on what they specifically need to do. So this is why I'm really hoping this YouTube video will be beneficial for others like me. And the information that I did find, I found quite overwhelming. It was really wordy. It made it sound like the process was just completely unachievable, especially for a small business. So don't get me wrong, if you're feeling completely like, flipping heck, this is not worth it, I literally was there. So I sympathise with you completely. I had a lot of tears, especially thinking about everything I needed to do, but just trust me, it's worth it. And it really, once you break it down, it really is manageable. So the UKCA is a legal requirement if you are selling handmade toys in the UK. So once you've created a toy, to apply to have the CE or the UKCA mark on its label, which you are required to when you sell your toys, it will need to be tested to the EN 71 standards. So let's start with how we test. The first way you can do this is to just ship your plushies off to a lab to get it done for you. Obviously, this would be ideal in every situation, just get someone else to do it. But this is extremely expensive, especially for us small businesses. So you will need to ship off each specific design off to the lab and pay for these individual plushies to be tested. So the cost will soon mount up. So the other way that is available is these at-home testing kits that are available. So these are a lot more manageable and achievable for the small business that you can do literally in your home. So the website I use for buying and downloading my own UKCA testing kit was the UK and CA Marking Handmade Toys Collective. So I will put the link in the video for this website so that you guys can go have a look and download this guide for yourself. So once you've got your kit, you've purchased it and downloaded it, I highly recommend printing it out. I've gone above and beyond by using these little what are these called, binders? So I highly recommend printing this out. This handbook is literally going to be your Bible for when you test your toys, and it gives you a really detailed insight on what the testing process involves. So I'd say once you've printed it off, make sure you read through it all thoroughly. There is a lot of information to digest, so it will probably take you a couple times to read through it. It is highly recommended before just jumping straight into the test. You don't want to jump straight into it, possibly ruin your teddy, and then find out that actually wasn't beneficial to the test anyway. So the 3 categories that your toy needs to pass are chemical. So all the fabric and the materials that you use to create your toy need to pass the EN 71-3 chemical testing standard. There's so many acronyms, I'm literally losing the will to live. So for each of your plushies, you will need to research if the yarn you're using has an EN 71-3 certificate available already. These certificates can sometimes actually be accessed on their website. I mainly use Flutterby yarn by James Brett. So I just typed in on Google, James Brett website, and had a quick look on there. And they're so good. They've got all of their certificates online, readily accessible and downloadable. So I downloaded it straight away onto my computer. So I've got those readily available for when I need them. But like I say, I was really lucky in that the yarn I mainly use was so readily available. This may not be the case for some of the yarns. You may need to purchase them, you may need to email the specific brand. Just keep researching, or if you can't bother for that hassle, try and find a yarn that maybe does have those certificates easily available. The second part that your toy needs to pass is the physical tests. So this is basically to see if your toy can cope with the physical demands of being played with by children.
So I thought I would just basically add in a few of the videos that I took for my own testing. I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail just because, again, like I say, this is not legal advice, it's just my own experience. But the physical tests basically involved a lot of twisting, dropping and tipping. One of the main parts of the physical test is the tension test, and this is basically to assess whether the seams will break apart. So this is the video of my turtle toy holding 7.5 kg.
Oh, the poor little thing. Look at that seam though.
As you can tell, I was getting quite into the testing and really rooting for my turtle. Continuing on with the tests, basically involved a lot of putting the toy under a lot of stress and pressure just to see how it copes. We had to be quite imaginative with what we use for the weights, but it does state in the guide that you can use household objects such as books in a carrier bag, so you can be quite imaginative with the weight. One good thing that we did use was a portable luggage digital scale. This allowed us to get an accurate weight just using household objects. So just a quick overview of the equipment that you'll need. We've got a G-clamp, we've got the S-hooks, strong reusable bags to put the weights in, and obviously you need household objects to the weight that you need. You also need something like a wooden spoon, because this is for the mitigation part of the test. Obviously you need something to weigh your weights, so scales, or like I said, I've got a luggage scale. You also need a lighter, probably a pair of tongs, which I've not got on here, and also a stopwatch for the next test that I'm about to go into detail on. But just to reiterate, this is just a summary of the equipment. The guide will tell you exactly what you need and in a lot more detail.
Also part of the physical test is the flammability test. So yes, I know probably some of your hearts just sank then. Yeah, there's literally no way of describing literally seeing your teddy that you've spent literally hours on going up in flames. I don't know how else to literally describe that. It is soul destroying, but you just got to think it's worth it. Once you've done it, maybe once, or if not, the worst case twice, you don't have to do it again, okay? So apart from on the other designs, but you're not going to get into that. Just take a second to compose yourself. It is going to be awful to see. Have a little cry if you need, but just think it's so worth it. You're going to be legal and safe, and it's part of the process. So this flammability test is basically to see how fast your toy burns, and basically whether a child has enough time to let go of your toy if it is to catch on fire. So once all your tests have been completed, you need to document the results of these tests, and also a detailed outline of your manufacturing process for your toy within a technical file. So again, the website I listed in my video description has a really clear guide, and the pack also actually includes a template of a technical file, so you just basically have to fill it in. And it also has checklists and risk assessments that you basically just tick, and they really help you to work through the tests really methodically. So like I said, it's got a template of the technical file, it's got checklists, it's got risk assessments, it also has the declaration of conformity, which is basically the certificate that you will need to fill in once your toy has passed the testing process. And this is basically the certificate that states that the toy has met the legal requirements and standards. So once you have your forms and the declaration complete, you can then move on to making your labels. I personally use Canva to make my labels. They also do send you PDFs of the UKCA logos. Again, in the guide that you get, it states specifically what information you need to have on your label. This basically includes things like business name and details, washing instructions, warnings, and obviously the UKCA marking. So that your toys need to be sold with this label clearly showing and attached. Okay, so some of you are probably like, but why? Why do we need to go through all of this horror? Basically, to put it bluntly, it's a legal requirement. Not only are you ensuring that your makes are safe, able to have a clear conscience, that you are selling toys that are safe for children and are not going to cause any harm. I kind of got self-assurance from it, and also like weirdly pride at how well made something that I made with my hands was. Seeing my make being pulled and twisted and having to hold loads of weights, I was almost like rooting for my teddies and so proud of myself that they were like sticking through it. I was there like a little proud mum going, come on guys, you can do it. So I definitely got some sort of pride through it and some sort of self-assurance that actually, you know what, my makes are pretty well put together. So yeah, not only are you getting that clear conscience and the self-assurance that you're being safe and you're going through the right process, but it's actually a really validating experience as well. So obviously, just to say, all of this information in this video is all just personal preference and from my personal experience. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to answer some of your guys' questions and your worries and show you that actually the UKCA testing process isn't as daunting as you probably think it is.